Major investors are expressing concern over the dangers of high tariffs, but President Trump remains undeterred. He announced plans to impose an additional 50% tariff on China if they do not retract their own tariff increases, declaring all talks with China over. For more, let's bring in Oz Sultan from Sultan Interactive Group. Great to see you. What have you made of the movements this week?
I think it's been kind of brilliant. On one side of this, we've got everyone kvetching internationally about the tariffs that we are supposedly starting, when in most cases we were looking at tariffs of anywhere between 34% up to 250% on most of our goods with the majority of our trading partners. In the past, I think it was 72 hours, we've had 50 countries come to the table to renegotiate. Zimbabwe capitulated. They're also looking at bringing American military power in to kind of stabilize that region, which is an added value out of this. I think the big players that, things still have to be sorted out with are China, the European Union, and obviously India. But the way that these talks have been going, and seeing that Japan's Abe is looking at coming over, that most of your international market leaders are coming over. Maloney from Italy already said that she's scheduling talks. I anticipate that we are going to have a reset of the terms that were set after World War II, which is largely what we've operated by for the past 6 decades. And what this stands to do is two things. Number one, usher in an era of huge prosperity for America, but also change where manufacturing goes. Because from everything, including vehicles and heavy manufacturing, we've seen Audi and Porsche saying they're coming stateside, to Bitmain. We have crypto miners coming here now.
So talk to us about China. You mentioned a few countries there. China's the one that has everyone rattled, obviously, because so many different countries have a relationship with China as well, and have been really frustrated by China flooding local markets with Chinese products that undermine local industry. The story of the US is a story of Australia. It's a story of China, sorry, of the UK as well. Is the US essentially, do you think, doing what countries like Australia wish they could, which is to reset the trade relationship with a country like China?
Effectively, and it was two steps. The first part of this was that China received special allowances for any transaction that was under $800. So your Temus, your Shines, companies that started putting American companies out of business, well, that loophole's closed, right? And while that affects Amazon marketers, I don't think it affects the public at large in the same ways. What it does do is it shifts what they're going to be purchasing and what their opportunities are to buy local. Secondarily, when we start looking at where trade is on large commodities, China's had onerous tariffs on American goods for a tremendously long period of time. So this reset is something that has been talked about since the 80s. But now we're seeing it in real time. And the ramifications of this are more than likely going to be impactful in the Chinese side more so than the American side. And that's where that reset, is a rebalance that could potentially tell Commonwealth countries, hey, maybe you should think about this too.
Yeah, interesting, because we've seen the markets panic over the past week. And as we know, with a lot of investors, they're like lemmings flying off the cliff one after another. But the one thing that I've been wondering is this just the great Trump trick, which is go big, go hard, go loud, and then pull back, a bit like the angry boss fires you on a Monday, rehires you on a Tuesday. Is this Trump essentially trying to increase import tariffs or decrease tariffs that other countries have on American products?
A bit of both. The import tariffs are here to stay. And when countries decide to negotiate with us, then they'll see reductions in tariff on them. But at the same point in time, this is removing some of the onerous tariffs on American goods that made us anti-competitive in many, many markets internationally. And then lastly, there's the focus where Trump has pulled in, I think it's effectively 1.5 trillion or more in investment, commitments from a variety of countries and that are coming to the United States and saying, hey, we're going to manufacture here, we're going to build here, we're going to shift. And the most pronounced of these, I have to say, is Taiwan, right? So Taiwan had relatively high tariffs on exports to us. They had relatively high tariffs on imports to us. We're now looking at semiconductors and chips coming to the United States with zero tariff. That, I think, is a win-win for every single sector, given the fact that about 90% of what's in your house now that's a home electronic uses their chips and semiconductors in some manner or fashion.
Benjamin Netanyahu, the Israeli Prime Minister, in at the White House as we see these pictures coming from the Oval Office, capitulating, as you mentioned, Zimbabwe did as well. Netanyahu, the first in as a foreign leader, essentially also announcing a drop of all tariffs on US goods too. Trump, no doubt, utilising this as a way to stand up to Israel, but to show others this is what is expected if you're a leader coming to the White House now. Do you think that what we've seen with Netanyahu, we will see with other leaders?
I think absolutely, and I think you're going to see it with Japan in the coming days, Italy shortly thereafter, and then I think the rest of Europe is going to pay attention, and instead of, again, fetching and complaining online, they're really going to see that, look, this is a complete reset of the global order. It's not their dictate of the global order anymore. It's now Pax Americana. And Pax Americana is also going to mean that we're focused on a tremendous amount of growth here, which will benefit them longer term. But, for the first time in many years, we're focused on America first, and that America first promise is being delivered right in front of our eyes.
Let's talk about manufacturing. A lot of people have differing views on that. You're either really for local US manufacturing or you're really against. I think of Jack Welch at GE, who made a lot of money by shifting a lot of those manufacturing factories out of the United States, and it killed a lot of local communities, but it also brought down the cost of buying things because they were sent to Asia. What are your views? There's a lot of different perspectives on this. Do you see toasters and lounges and TVs being made in the United States, or does the United States need to focus on advanced manufacturing, things like these chips that are being made in Taiwan, that there's been a lot of talk about bringing them back to the US anyway? Is this so much about trying to keep those middle flyover rust bucket states, whatever you want to call them, happy, the voters who elected Trump, or is this about keeping them a little bit happy but realizing the world isn't like it was in the 1960s?
I think it's going to be 50, 25, 25. It's going to be 50% advanced manufacturing, and that's going to be building upon some of the government grants that have been given out to, again, Rust Belt states that have gotten themselves into chip manufacturing. It's going to be 25% what I would call heavy manufacturing. So that's automobiles, land movers, construction equipment, cranes, that kind of a thing. And then the latter 25% is going to be small electronics. Now, it may not trickle down to toasters, but you're more than likely to see, what was being manufactured for iPhones in China now being manufactured in India, and what was being assembled in India being assembled in the United States. And while Apple may not go 100% in that direction, the simple fact that the impacts of utilizing foreign labor that has disenfranchised American labor for such a long period of time is at an end. And the focus now really needs to be inside of the fourth industrial revolution. How do we maintain our country and our sovereignty and our economic safety when right around the corner you've got quantum computing and artificial intelligence? So this buildup over the coming part of this decade will be significant, and it really sets the stage for us to be very competitive inside of that new market that's right around the corner.
Let's finish up talking crypto, because markets have been tanking. Whatever happened to 120,000 USD? Many crypto investors have believed the other side of at the end of last year that Trump would be the crypto president, but now we're seeing crypto dropping to 75,000 USD. What are your views?
You can't look at crypto and, hodling the same way that you look at baseball plays. And I think that the problem is inside of this real world social media economy that we live in, everything is a baseball play. And it's like, oh my God, this is horrible. Look at that play. You have to look at this in terms of longevity. And we've got an altcoin bill that's currently on the floor. We've got a strategic crypto reserve that's moving forward. This is market resets and market panic and sell off simply predicated upon FUD, right? Fear, uncertainty, and death. And what I anticipate is that you're going to see a rebound of Bitcoin as these tariffs are accepted, these tariffs are negotiated on a national and international basis, and as we come to a new reset. And that new reset will more than likely drive pressure to push Bitcoin back up to 86,000, we're more than likely looking at another $100,000 all-time high, but that probably won't come until the summer and until, again, all of this fear has kind of washed itself out of the market.
Is it just a sign, though, is it just a sign that Bitcoin still has this problem and crypto still has this problem in that they're the first to feel the effects of anything, right? If someone sneezes, Bitcoin goes down. If Trump smiles, Bitcoin goes up. It just seems so volatile, and there are so many analysts out there saying, see, I told you so.
I think the volatility is going to be buoyed to a point of stability by the ETFs kind of, stabilizing this on the OTC level. On the traditional market level, when you see opportunities like this, you're going to have some of your whales selling off. You're going to have people taking advantage of this, and you're going to have people definitely taking advantage of the market action that they can leverage upon this. I will say that it is not a involatile asset, to these big changes that are occurring on a global basis. But I will say that versus additional or other goods or investments that you have out there, it is as resilient, if not slightly more resilient than they are. Housing starts and the stock market have taken bigger hits based upon the same concept of fear, uncertainty, and death. And I think as we go through the course of the next quarter, you'll see that stabilization coming out of the backside of this, because really the last time we negotiated tariffs on this level was 1972 and Nixon was in office.
Yeah, there you go. A big one indeed. Always appreciate your insights there, Oz Sultan. Thank you. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.